Hello everybody, welcome to our webinar. So we are waiting for the last few registered to connect, and we are going to start in 1 minute. Thank you for waiting. Hello everybody, welcome to our third webinar, and we are very pleased to have you all connected. Just a few elements about how are we going to conduct the webinar. So it's going to last hopefully less than 1 hour. Usually we have a presentation for 45 minutes. We wish that you can stay until the end. At any time you can ask questions in the chat box. We will try to reply to these questions either by writing during the webinar, or at the end we will spare 5 to 10 minutes to reply to the questions. Our guarantee is to finish before the hour. So welcome again to everybody. We are very pleased to do this webinar with you today. The objective of the webinar, and you will see the agenda coming on the screen, is to give you a high-level look about what Ingram Micro is doing in the cybersecurity domain to unlock the potential of your market with the end users, with the clients. So what we are going to do is we are going to explain about Ingram Micro strategy for cybersecurity and how you can get more business with the market, because we have on this call our business partners and the sales, some of the sales and cybersecurity product managers. We are going to cover all the aspects of how to increase the business altogether in the cybersecurity. And afterwards, I will. My name is Marc Cassis. I am the cybersecurity director for Ingram Micro META region. And after my short presentation, I will hand over to Moawiya Dibsawi, who is our senior security consultant. He's going to speak about the service offering and how to use it in our market, the service offering that is dedicated for cybersecurity. Then we hand over to Praveen, who is our consultant and trainer, and he will speak about the training offering that we are making available for the market and for the end users. And finally, Vikram, who is our business support, is going to speak about all the initiatives that we are putting in place for the cybersecurity business unit. I will come back and conclude this session with you and hopefully answer all your questions. Let's move to the market, and I would like to share with you now the information about the market potential and what we believe is the trend that we see in the market today. In this slide, I am gathering the situation of the breaches or attacks that are happening in the GCC and Middle East today and at this period. And as you can see on the top left side, this is the case of a breach that happened in Kuwait for a service provider that is providing for companies websites and a lot of services on the internet, and they have been attacked, and they immediately stopped operating. They stopped the business, and we believe that in such a situation, instead of losing business by some anticipation and training, this company would have probably better react in order to get the minimum impact on their business. On the bottom left side of this screen, you can see the Saudi famous Shamoon attacks that are happening periodically in the country. So this is an example of a cyber war and a very large-scale attacks. So this definitely needs a lot of consultancy at all country level, at government level, implementing strategies and doing a lot of trainings. So this is unfortunate to see that the cybersecurity is going so large in terms of cybercrime, and we will speak about it in the coming slides. The other two that you can see on the right side of the screen, this is the case of two banks in the Middle East, one in Qatar, one in Sharjah, UAE. The situation of these banks, of course, were in all cases related to information about their client that has been leaked, and in the case of the lower case of UAE, the bank in Sharjah was ransom for their clients, and they had to communicate with their client with the risk of having their information leaked on the social media. So in the case of in both cases, I have to say that the most important is how to communicate with the clients, how to be communicative, what to say in the situation of crisis, or so a lot of trainings that would be needed here. And in the case of Qatar National Bank, one of the journalists has been told by the officials of the bank, it was a quite surprising, in fact, statement. He has been told that the bank asked the employee to be vigilant. Do we all believe that vigilance is enough? Do we believe that in such cases where the information about the client, it's enough that people can just be vigilant? I think we have here a lot of training and a lot of awareness to create in the market. Let me move, please, to the cybersecurity and go into details of more details, let's say, in the cybersecurity domains. So what is cybersecurity? In reality, what we are trying to say that cybersecurity is not only technology, if I may jump to a conclusion. As you can see here, there are three domains of cybersecurity: people, process, and technology. Unlike the other IT technologies, the components of people and process are quite important. Let's go into detail. What is the people domain in cybersecurity? If the management of a company is not aware about the risk they are running in terms of the financial risk, reputational and business risk, they would never engage efficiently in cybersecurity. And therefore, we need to work all the time. Whenever we address a cybersecurity topic, we need to work with the top management of a company so they can get sponsorship to their organization and push to the users all the needed trainings and awareness and all the behavior that they need to have in order to get to anticipate any risk. Of course, whenever a company is building this awareness, they immediately need to create very strict processes to prevent themselves from being attacked or breached. And for this, there is a lot of consultancy to be given to build these processes that are declined from policies and in line with the strategy that has been built by the management, so-called people. And at this moment, the technology can come in to create the shield that is protecting the company according to the strategy and making sure that it is in line with the wish of the management. And for this last part, of course, the technology and the solutions are given to the company and installed with a very heavy service around it. Precisely, I would like here to speak about the services that are around cybersecurity. If you can see here, I gathered some information from from IDC 2016 or 15, sorry, and you can see here the trend of the services for security intelligence, threat intelligence, is quite good. So you can see that in 2020 we might reach $1.8 billion by that time. So the market is there, so we need just to grab it. And this is the market of service only. The services mean consultancy, training, data protection, and all around the managed services. So if we look now at the challenges that any organization is facing whenever they require to build an IT security project, we have always the same four issues. There is a lack of budget, users are not aware enough, and the return on investment is not justified to the management. And last but not least, of course, is the implementation, and you will see how the implementation is important. So if we address with the right training the users and create the right awareness, we can avoid the challenge of user education. If we get the right consultancy, we can explain the return on investment and hence justify the budget. And finally, if we have the right skills in professional services, the implementation would not be anymore an issue. So as you can see, with services, we can overcome all the challenges of an IT security solution. And last but not least, when you look at the bottom right diagram, you can see that security services within a cybersecurity project is 27% of the cost, which means almost 1/3, not almost equally, to the software price and the hardware price, which means that the cybersecurity project cannot be handled the same way like any IT project, because unlike the IT traditional projects, the services are much less, 10 to 15% of the project. Here we are speaking about 27%. So now we had a look on the market, how the service market can help grabbing more business. Let's have a look about our view on how to go to the market for cybersecurity. We gathered here in this slide the behavior of the market and the companies that are consuming cybersecurity. And you can see on the top right part of this pie chart, this is part of the market that is mature. These are large companies, governmental organizations, And these guys are having a proper strategy for cybersecurity. They invested a lot in people, and they are buying technology. So this is what we call the mature market of cybersecurity. If we continue the circle clockwise, we can see that in the bottom of this pie chart, these are the companies that, most of them are large companies that have enough funding to tackle the cybersecurity risk and issues. And the only difference is that they probably need a lot of help to build the strategy, and they will only be willing to buy large brands and getting consultancy from the Big Four. So these ones are those who are emerging, if we may call them that way. And then if I continue, the third part of the market are those what we may call untargeted, forgotten part of the market, or those enterprises that they believe they are far away from any threat because they probably don't transact and they are not exposed to any risk. I give you an example. In many cases, steel manufacturing company or a fabric manufacturing company believe that they are not at risk. And of course, the mid-sized companies and the SMEs might be also lacking fund to go and protect themselves. So now we see this sharing of the market. Let's look at the same sharing, the same components of the market, and how services are consumed. So the first mature part of the market is definitely mature enough to consume professional services, implementation, certification per vendor that they decided to buy. So those ones are the ones that are consuming such services, such advanced and specific services. The developing part of the market that is having the funding will need consultancy services in order to build their strategy and also hopefully jump to the mature part of the pie chart. And those guys also can consume quite a long-term managed security service engagement. If I go to the last part, which we used to call them in the previous slide, small SMB, SME, and the untargeted enterprise, those ones will definitely need a lot of awareness training, and they will be looking at remote services because of the size of the company. They might not have enough funding. What are we as Ingram Micro doing? What we are doing is that in the first category, the mature one and the developing one, we are focusing on developing our cybersecurity strategy around the vendors, solution, services, and dedicated investment that we can do for those who are trusting us to distribute their solution. And here there are dedicated actions per vendor in order to enhance our capabilities. And what about the rest? And here, in this case, almost half of more than half of the pie chart, we decided to invest in value-added services in order to bring you more market and more opportunities. How are we going to make it? So the way how we are proceeding is that we are looking at our value chain. You have from one side the vendor and from the other side the end user. And you and us, our business partners and ourselves, we need to make it happen. So what we decided is to complement the range of services that you are offering to your clients and supporting you in every and single step of our business processes. Whenever we recruit a new business partner, we would like to qualify them better for the cybersecurity, whenever it is related, of course, to cybersecurity. Enabling the existing partners that we have today, might be you guys or might be some others that are in other domain, enabling our business partners by providing trainings in order to be ready to go and to get the to speak about cybersecurity to our to your clients. Growing, we want to help you to grow your business by providing you consultancy services as well as to your end user around the strategy building. During the engagement that you are having with your clients, we would like to enhance your value by providing level 2, level 3 support whenever it's valid with the vendor proposal, as well as building a SOC proposal to be delivered as a service. And of course, providing various level of training that we are going to speak about with Paraveen in the coming slides. So as you can see, our focus is to add value to the distribution in a way that you deliver better the cybersecurity solution. How are we going to help you to use these services and training to go and trigger this new business? You can see here a very simple org chart that we put in place that is showing every step that we are inviting you to use. And you can see that in average, you can achieve it in less than 1 month. Meaning that we sit down with you as our value-added reseller, and we discuss about your targets in terms of market and client. You propose your action plan, and we take with you this action plan, and we propose to you several range of services and training to your clients, to you, and you will see these details in the coming slides. And then you will order this very competitive services and training. You will deliver them to your clients, and each service and training will have a recommendation part, and this recommendation part will be very generic for cybersecurity about threat and vulnerabilities, but also will contain, thanks to you and our joint work for your business, will contain a solution selling to your clients. In case we are addressing a mature client, you might not have immediately a recommendation, but you can get a managed security service with him engaged for a long period, and at a moment in time, in the discussion, in the assessments, in the monitoring of the client infrastructure, you will reach a stage where you will need to propose him a new vendor solution, and then the target would have been achieved. I hope that I give you by this first section enough information about how to use practically the services that Muawiyah is going to describe to you in the coming minutes, as well as the trainings that Praveen is going also to describe to you. So I leave the floor to Muawiyah to speak about the cybersecurity service portfolio.
Thank you very much, Mike. Thank you very much, Mark. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Malware Detection. I'm Senior Consultant in Cybersecurity at Ingram Micro. In this part of the webinar, I'll take you through the various cybersecurity services offered by Ingram Micro, and I'll also provide details about some of them. As a gentle reminder, please use the questions part to raise any questions you have, and we will make sure to answer these questions at the end of the webinar. So before going into the details of the available cybersecurity services, I'd like to give you a high-level overview of the cybersecurity portfolio at Ingram Micro. Broadly speaking, the portfolio is divided into 3 main categories, as you can see on your screen, namely services, training, and vendors. The service category is further divided into basic technical assessment, consultancy services, and managed security services. I'll be giving you more details about this part in the upcoming slides. The second category is the training category, which is also divided into 3 subcategories, with the aim of targeting different types of employees or trainees in every organization. My colleague Praveen will give you more details about this part later on in this webinar. Last but not least is the vendors category. This category shows the current security solutions vendors that you can order their products and services through Ingram Micro. One thing to note here is that the presence of these vendors may vary according to the region that you are in. So if you need further details about any of the security vendor, their products or services, and in which region they do exist, please contact us for this. Now that you had a high level of overview about Ingram Micro cybersecurity portfolio, let's talk in more details about the service category. So as I mentioned earlier in the portfolio slide, services are divided into 3 subcategories, as you can see in the current slide: basic technical services, consultancy, and managed security services. Basic technical services aims to test the strength and resilience of existing technical security defenses in an organization. This is where we think and test like hackers, and we try to identify security loopholes in the client security setup. As the name suggests, these tests are performed on the information assets such as websites, firewalls, servers, network devices, endpoint, and so on. The consultancy services, on the other side, looks after the process angle of the cybersecurity domains as presented earlier by Mark. This category of services aims to build and assess the structure, organization, and process of information security. This includes cybersecurity governance and management frameworks, policies and procedures, risk assessment and compliance against local policies and international security standards and regulations. The last category is the managed services. This is designed to help organizations who do not have the resources or the skills required to handle cybersecurity matters in a comprehensive way. This is where we come into the picture and we help them by providing them the security as a service. So this includes regular assessment of their environment, monitoring of their infrastructure for attacks and security breaches. Okay. Now on this slide, you can see some examples of the cybersecurity services that exist in each subcategory. Please know that this is not a comprehensive list of all the services that are available right now. Other services do exist, however, due to the space limitation on this slide, so we could not include all of them in one slide. So if you have any queries about any other services, please contact us and we will provide you with the right answer. So in the next slides, I'll cover some of these services in details, where you will see information about how is it performed, the estimated service time, and also the expected output. Okay, starting with the first service, that's Public Discovery Report. This service, we simulate the first phase of the cyber kill chain, which is the reconnaissance or information gathering phase. This is where hackers, they start gathering information about the target organization. So in this service, we gather information about the client, including email addresses, open ports, vulnerable services, sensitive documentation that might exist in public. This includes PowerPoint, Word documents, Excel sheet, PDF, etc. Additionally, we gather information about the underlying infrastructure and technology stack used by the organization, such as the operating system of their website, the web technology used, and other information that are usually useful for attackers to plan the attack on the target. As you can see, this service is free of charge and it is passive in nature, what we mean by passive, we do not really interact with the systems of the client, so we do not send any malicious traffic, we don't try to scan or have any like heavy traffic direct to the client environment. It's free of charge, and the time to deliver takes around 2 business days per service. The second service in row is the web application scanning service. As you know, most organizations have a web presence nowadays to provide information about their organization to the customers, or also to facilitate some kind of business transactions such as e-commerce or like the download of some documents or some information about the organization. So the objective of this service is to identify vulnerabilities and security weaknesses in the websites and web services of the organization. This service is performed in 2 formats, external and internal. And I'll be giving you more details about the difference between external and internal and how each format is performed in the upcoming slides as well. The third service is the vulnerability assessment service. This is pretty much similar to the web application scanning service. However, this does not only cover the web part, it aims to identify security weaknesses and vulnerabilities across the various services in an organization. This includes email services, FTP, file share services, device management services such as SSH, Telnet, and other services that might exist in any organization. You can see on this slide in front of you the different phases of this service. It starts with the discovery of the connected devices, and then the identification of the services running on these devices, followed by understanding and getting the version information of the running services and analyzing which one might be vulnerable, which one might allow attackers to take advantage of them to get unauthorized access to the organization. And the final phase is the reporting, where we report the weaknesses identified along with some recommendations to mitigate those weaknesses. The time required to deliver this service is 2 business days. The penetration testing service is an advanced kind of version of the vulnerability assessment. This is where we take the assessment into the next level. So we do not stop at the identification of the vulnerabilities. We rather start exploiting those vulnerabilities to simulate a real hacking scenario to gain access to organization information and systems. Most likely when we compromise one of the machines, hackers don't usually stop at the machine. They would like to get access to the most important data of the organization. So after compromising a machine, they start doing what we call as privilege escalation to get an administrative access on the compromised machine, and then from there start jumping inside the victim's network and repeating the cycle of penetration testing by scanning another machines, identifying vulnerabilities, taking advantage of these vulnerabilities, and again maintaining access till they get their kind of target, till they get access to the most critical information and some resources, they call it crown jewels of the organization, which is the most important information. Again, this service is performed in 2 formats, external and internal, and it has 2 types. It has the basic penetration testing and it has the black box. The basic penetration testing is where the client knows exactly what kind of services or assets he wants to perform penetration testing against. So basically he says, I want you to do penetration testing against this IP address or against this service. The black box penetration testing is where it's a real simulation of a hacking scenario. The clients only provide his name, so just like an organization name and nothing else, and then we can start from there, start gathering information about the clients, what kind of services he has exposed externally and internally, and then we try to get access to his network. The time to deliver the basic penetration testing is 5 business days, while for the black box it takes 10 business days. Web malware detection is the last services that I'm going to talk about in the technical assessment services. As you know, malware can disrupt the operations of websites and can prevent the legitimate users from really using the website. Malware also can be used to gain unauthorized access to information and computer systems, utilizing the vulnerabilities in the website. So how do we detect malware on a website? Usually we need some credentials before start like scanning the website, and this service analyzes the behavior of the website. So it tries to follow the website links and also looks at the content of the different pages in the website to identify some kind of malicious behavior or some kind of like weaknesses that might be considered as a malware. This service also provides some kind of protection against zero-day malwares because it doesn't rely on the signatures of the attacks, rather it tries to analyze the behavior. So it's very helpful in this context. This service also is performed in external and internal way. The external usually for the websites exposed externally, while internal is for websites that are supposed to be accessed by only internal employees or maybe guests of the organization. The time to deliver this service is around 3 business days. So as I mentioned previously, there are 2 types or 2 formats to deliver our services. We have the external format and we have the internal format. You can see on your screen a simplified network topology that are usually found in organizations. You can see the different network segments including DMZ, servers, networks, and users VLANs. You can also see that how the connection is made to the internet, and you can see the routers, the perimeter firewall, and also the core firewall. In the external delivery format, our team obviously will be sending traffic from outside to test the target IT assets that are in the scope of the requested services. You can see the red lines that are originating from Ingram Micro cyber team into the different parts of the network. This is how we perform the test from external. The internal format on the other side is conducted in a different way. In this type of format, we deploy a virtual machine on the client's network. This is of course with the help of the client. And on this virtual machine, we install our security kit that we usually use for testing for performing the different services that we provide to our clients. Once the machine is deployed, we establish a remote connection to the virtual machine using a VPN or remote desktop protocol. And once we have access to it, we start sending the different testing traffics to the different parts of the network based on the scope of the service. Well, this is pretty much what I have for the service part. I hope it was informative for you. I would like you to know that we are adding more services as we progress in response to the demands of our business partners and clients, and we will keep you posted of any updates in timely manner. I'd like to hand over the mic to my colleague Praveen, who's going to give you more details about the cybersecurity training part. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mo. And it's I'd like to wish everybody a very good day. It's a great pleasure to be given an opportunity to speak with you today. My name is Praveen, and I'm responsible for the cybersecurity trainings here at the Cybersecurity BU at Ingram Micro. What I'm going to do is over the next few minutes, give you a quick brief on the cybersecurity trainings portfolio that we have built and how we can actually offer these to our partners. Now, the reason why we wanted to focus so much on training is primarily, if you look at the cybersecurity industry today, there are two primary audiences for a cybersecurity trainings market. There are security professionals who have built a career in cybersecurity and still want to further their career progressions by acquiring certifications or professional qualifications. Plus, the wider audience, which I'm sure all of you will agree with me, is any organization's end user, anybody who's using technology in an organization, anybody who interacts with the information system in an organization is responsible for the information security of that particular component that he or she is interacting with. So whether a person is from the finance department or the HR department or any non-technical department, as Mark was saying earlier today, cybersecurity still applies to them. And this is the larger share of the market. We are seeing a lot of demand from this particular segment. People who have a very foundational or fundamental idea of security are interested in knowing more about information security. So we have trainings which are suited, which have been built for these various kinds of audiences. And over the next slide, I'm sure you can see, this is the various classes of trainings that we have built. We have classified them into 4 buckets, starting with foundational training. Foundational training, as I said, is oriented towards individuals who have little to no knowledge about information security, but at the end of the day, they still use technology and information security applies to them. I will talk a little bit more in detail about this specific training. We have certification trainings which are tailored for security professionals, starting from those who are entry-level professionals who are just beginning out their careers in security, to people who have at least 5 to 7 years of work experience and want to acquire one of the well recognized and established certifications, like let's say CISSP or CISSP. We have risk management trainings also, which are oriented towards individuals who specialize in the risk field. Risk management, compliance and governance, which is also one of the services that we offer. These are very, very hot and in-demand professions in cybersecurity, and there are a huge number of professionals who are specializing in these lines. So for this specific audience, we have risk management specific trainings, and also we have compliance specific trainings, under which we focus on 2 compliance standards, PCI as well as ISO 27001. Now we'll quickly look at each of these trainings, not more than a minute or 2 for each training over the next few minutes. Okay, the fundamentals of information security training, as I said, this training is specific to anybody who is a user of technology but still wants to learn about the basics of security and how it applies to them. This particular course talks about the basic security concepts, starting with confidentiality, integrity and availability. We'll talk about the need to know, privilege management, access management, etc., and various security concepts which are very simple when they are listed down as points A, B and C, but still people don't realize how much they apply to them when they go about doing the day-to-day operations. So for instance, basic things like how to secure your laptop, security best practices like locking your machine when you're away from your desk. These are the basic points which will be discussed in this particular training. It is for individuals who have experience with technology but still want to learn more about cybersecurity and get introduced to this magnificent field. CyberSafe is another training which is specific to, it is focused on how you can secure your devices. Now technology, if you look at it, I'm pretty sure 100% of the audience here today uses technology not only in their professional lives but also at home. We have multiple smart devices at home, starting from our smartphones to smart TVs and various other devices. We are talking about appliances being integrated through the Internet of Things. So how do we secure these devices? How do we make sure that my phone is not being used by somebody to launch a botnet or an attack which is of a larger scale? How do I know my WhatsApp messages are not being hacked and read into by somebody else? These are the kinds of concepts that we will be discussing in the CyberSafe training. Both these trainings vary between 1 day and half a day. Fundamentals of Information Security is only a 1-day course, and the CyberSafe training is a half-day course. We also have a 1-hour edition, which will be just like a quick workshop for those who are in need of time. All right, now coming over to the certification trainings, we have trainings, as I said earlier, which are specialized for individuals who are cybersecurity professionals, starting from entry-level professionals to those who want to further their careers when they are, let's say, with 5 to 7 years of work experience. So we've got training specially for CompTIA certifications. CompTIA is one of the most recognized certifying bodies in the world. More than 2 million professionals around the world have been certified by CompTIA. It's a computing trading industry association. That's what CompTIA stands for. And it's very, very popular in the security space as well as in technology space in general. CompTIA Security Plus is for entry-level security professionals. And CompTIA Network Plus is for entry-level network professionals. There's a lot of subject matter that overlaps between the two trainings, but the focus, as you can probably guess, is predominantly on security in the first one, and it's more on networking in the second training. Each of these trainings stretches across 5 days, and it will prepare you for the final exam, which is S plus and N plus. The next two trainings, which is CFR, Cybersecurity First Responder, and CompTIA Advanced Security Practitioner, these are pertinent to individuals who have at least 3 to 7 years of work experience in security. Now, CFR is focused on individuals who are specialized in incident management. All right, many organizations today, they have a specific and dedicated incident response team. And this team is required to carry out a certain number of actions the moment a security incident or a security breach is detected. All right, there are multiple actions that have to be carried out. Critically speaking, the first 24 hours within which an incident is detected, they are the most critical when it comes to any incident information security hack. Within the first 24 hours, we can determine what level of the incident breach can be minimized, how much of the lost data can be recovered, how can we contain the incident, mitigate it, prevent it from spreading further. So these basic fundamentals of formal incident management is what this particular course discusses. As I said, it is focused on individuals who are incident management professionals, the first line of defense of an organization. They are pretty much the biggest weapons that an organization can have towards protecting its crown jewels. CompTIA Advanced Security Practitioner is for individuals with at least 5 to 7 years of work experience. It talks about advanced concepts of security like risk management, incident response, integration of enterprise components, etc. Again, this is a 5-day course. The prices can be determined. And finally, we have a course for CISSP as well. CISSP is considered by many to be the gold standard in information security certification. It is issued by ISE Square and is considered there are thousands of professionals certified in this exam, but it is one of the most difficult certifications to acquire. And for that reason, we have specifically created a training session for CISSP. The exam is about 6 hours, but it is not impossible to clear it. Many thousands of professionals have done it. With the right practice and the right training, it is possible to achieve. All right, in the next bucket, we have risk management specific trainings. Now, as I said earlier, these are focused on risk professionals, and we've noticed that risk is one of the domains in cybersecurity which is burgeoning. There's a lot of demand for risk professionals, and so we've built up a suite of trainings for this particular audience, starting with the formal information security risk assessment. Now, risk assessment can be considered to be the foundational step for any information security activity, whether you're talking about penetration testing, whether you're talking about auditing, vulnerability assessment. Taking a risk-based approach to the exercise will actually help in further justifying the costs that were invested in this particular exercise. So people talk about risk-based audits, so you can prioritize what are the high-risk issues in my environment that have to be focused on in my audit. Similarly, in a pen testing, what are the high-risk areas? We need to identify those. What are the most critical assets, the crown jewels again, within an organization? Risk assessment helps us to arrive at these particular metrics. And having a formal risk assessment is what helps you to make sure you're doing it right. What this means is if you're doing a risk assessment with one methodology for, let's say, the HR department, and another team is doing it for, let's say, the IT department, how do you compare the two risk assessments? Is there a metric through which you can compare the risk assessments across, which were done at two different points in time? Following a formal risk assessment methodology is how you can make sure this is being done. And that's what the first workshop is all about. the formal information security risk assessment training. We don't adhere to any specific methodologies. As you might be knowing, there are n number of formal risk assessment methodologies out there. This particular training does not adhere to any methodology. It talks about a formal ISRA which can be applied to any environment. All right, and this particular course also includes, I forget to mention, a case study as well and a hands-on workshop. There's a hands-on component, so the concepts are issued not only on a theoretical basis, but also on a practical basis. Similarly, we have a training for 3 formal risk assessment methodologies, which are CISSP 830. And I'll just move over to the next slide. We have trainings for Octave as well as ISO 27005. Now, these 3 formal risk assessment methodologies have been accepted worldwide as being applicable or suitable for various environments. Octave is more suitable for people-specific environments. NIST 830 is for IT-specific environments. So, for example, a data center risk assessment. Whereas ISO 27005 is good for balancing both kinds of environments. And we have trainings which focus upon each of these methodologies, talking about the do's and don'ts, the best practices, and how to achieve a successful risk assessment with each of these methodologies. In the last bucket, I'll talk about our compliance-specific trainings. We have 2 specific standards, namely PCI DSS as well as ISO 27001. PCI, for those of you who are familiar with it, is specific to the payment cards industry, and it deals with securing credit and debit card data. ISO 27001 is one of the most widely accepted security compliance standards. Each of these trainings talks about these standards, the various control and compliance requirements, the best practices, and typically the common implementation challenges. Now, all these trainings will be delivered to you by consultants who have actually been on the ground and actually applied certification activities for PCI or ISO or even risk assessments as per the standard. So, real world examples of what are going to be discussed during these trainings. And again, there is a case study as well as a hands-on component involved in each of these trainings. All right, so thank you so much. I will now hand it over to Vikram to discuss further.
Thank you, Praveen. Hello, everyone. This is Vikram here, and I take care of the business support activities for the cybersecurity unit. Today, I will be briefing you on our recent initiatives and activities. Now, as you can see here, we've split our activities into 3 categories, and namely vendors, partners, and marketing and communication. The first activity under vendors is the business planning activities, where we help our security vendors by designing and coordinating go-to-market business plans according to their requirements and targets. Second, we have our multi-vendor architecture, where our architects analyze the complementary capabilities of all our security vendors' products and accordingly builds an integrated architecture wherein multiple vendors' products work together to create high efficiency. As a result of the above-mentioned activities, we actively onboard new security vendors to our vast portfolio. Now we come to our partner-related activities, where first we have profiling. Now, this is where we categorize our business partners according to their cybersecurity capabilities. We aim to achieve this by having you fill out a survey that can assess your cybersecurity capabilities. This will allow us to position our offerings to you in a more efficient and complementary manner. The second initiative is the personalized enablement sessions that we are offering to you in order to better understand our services and trainings. This can be either through webinars or face-to-face meetings. Now finally, we have our marketing and communication initiatives, and under this we have our cybersecurity website, which will include all materials and information related to our security vendors and our own security services and trainings. Secondly, we have our cybersecurity newsletter, which will be a monthly publication that will include all our security offerings and all market-related information. We are also participating in GISEC, which is the Gulf Information Security Expo and Conference, which is taking place between May 21st and 23rd. At the exhibition, you will be able to attend conferences and presentations both from Ingram Micro security vendors and Ingram Micro cybersecurity consultants. We are actively coordinating with our security vendors, and as of now, we have 9 major vendors jointly participating with us. That's all from my side for now. Thank you so much for listening. And now I'm going to pass the mic over to Mark.
Okay, thank you Vikram, thank you Muawiyah, thank you Praveen. I think we are reaching almost the end of our session. I promised to close less than 1 hour. So I would like just to have a review with you on the takeaways, the messages from this session, and hopefully then spend some time on the questions. What we saw here is in the first part we saw how to use these value-added services. Then we get the description of these services and the way how to sell it, how to pitch it, and then Praveen explained the way how the trainings can be delivered. Then Vikram explained to you the initiatives that we are taking. Now what we need is to help you to use these services, and particularly the free service, and this is the point number 1 here, the PDR, Public Discovery Report. It's free for you. We just need to sit down with you and get in touch and get 2 clients that you are going to select, so you can use these PDRs and go and discuss. We can help you also in supporting in that part. So please provide us with at least two names of clients you would like to target, so we can deliver you this free PDR. The second point is the profiling questionnaire. We had, as Vikram mentioning, we prepared a questionnaire that is getting information that is confidential about you, about your company as our business partner, so we can precisely target for you the right offering and the right support. And as a consequence, we would like to dedicate a workshop for enablement with you on all this story and the way how we help you to sell and enable cybersecurity in your market. So the enablement session is also provided by us, by our team. We just need to plan it with your sales and product managers, and we can spend some time with you. So usually it's around 3 hours plus. We can make it more. It's depending on your needs. And last, of course, but not least, we are here to help you. We are here to provide you all clarification around the service, the training, all what we call the value-added services, in order to sell more of your solutions. So definitely you can contact us directly. You have on the screen our names appearing, and I think by this I'm reaching the end of the webinar. I think we answered some questions during the session online. It was about where to find the information of these services, the scope, the example of reports, the training content, and so all of this is available with your sales channel and product managers. You can contact us directly as well. We can provide you with all this material that is available today. The prices are very competitive. We decided not to broadcast them during the webinar, but at any request from your side, we can deliver to you these prices. So I'm just looking at Muawiyah to see if there is any question that we need to answer loudly, so everybody will hear about this question before closing the session.
Yes, thank you, Mark. Yes, there are a few questions that has been raised. Okay, let me just go through them one by one. Okay, the first question was by Hani Kaukab. So the question is, some services take 3 days to deliver. What exactly you will deliver? Is it an agent to be installed or what? Can you give me an example? So for the basic assessment services or the basic technical services, there is no agent to be installed. This is, as we mentioned, this is where we test like hackers. So if he has a website, we have a security tools that we use to test the website of the organization, from external or internal. We have our own security tool again that we use it to test, so we don't install any agents. And the output of this service will be a report showing what are the identified issues and what is the recommendation to close these issues. So again, there is no agent to be installed. However, for the managed security services, where, for example, we monitor the infrastructure of the client and we have to alert the client in case of an attack, we have to deploy an agent, and this agent will help us gather the logs from the different security devices or network devices or servers at the client network, and will forward those logs to our SOC setup in order to translate, interpret these logs, and then provide some information, some reports, some alerts to the client. So it's different. So again, basic technical assessment service, we don't use any agents. For managed security services, yes, we do use agents at some point in time. The second question also from Hani. The question says, where to get data sheets for these services to know more information about them? The answer is we have prepared a statement of services for the assessment services, and also we have sample reports available with us along with the price list for the different services. We will share those separately with you through email. Another question from Amira Mursi. The question says, which is not really relevant to the webinar, but says, could you please advise who are the vendors that will be participating with Ingram Micro on JISEC? So we have around 9 vendors. I can't memorize all of them right now, but we're going to send you the details of those vendors by email as well. Just moving to...
I jump in to answer the question about the newsletter. So the newsletter is going to be out, Hani, by mid of May. You will be definitely seeing it. So the team, as we speak, is working on the content, and the design is almost ready. So just a couple of days, let's say 10 days maximum, and we can hopefully raise it. And you will definitely find it, and we hope that it will be enough interesting for everybody so we can keep doing it on a monthly basis.
Okay, moving to the next question. Question by Massimo. And the question says, where can we attend the training as Ingram Micro staff, specifically risk managers? I'm going to direct this question to Praveen. Praveen, could you please answer this question?
I would say as soon as possible, Praveen. So we can build one training session for Ingram Micro and of course our partners. Definitely, we can. I guess that given the fact that we all are going to be tied up with JISEC, it's going to happen after JISEC, if possible between JISEC and the start of Ramadan or beginning of Ramadan. That's right.
Okay. The next question comes from Ilker Khopan. The question is, how are these services provided by Ingram Micro? Ingram Micro engineers are worked at these services for delivering, or are you working with a specialist partner?
I take this point as well, Ilker. Thank you for that. So we have our own team in India that is delivering this service at this stage, and we are having our team in Dubai gathering also these services. So some of the services are done by Muawiyah himself. Training is provided by Praveen. So it's a global work between our team in India and in Dubai. We have the intention to expand it also to other countries. It might be also in Turkey and in Egypt at this stage, and beyond that. So we are working on several scenarios for expansion. Of course, this doesn't mean that we cannot help you remotely, help you also in the country with supporting you for your clients in Turkey.
Okay. Another question came from Abilaj Bilai. The question says, for trainings like CISSP, will you wait for a batch, or will it be scheduled for even a single student? Praveen?
Yeah, I'll take that question, Abhilash. We have a minimum requirement in terms of number of attendees for each training, and this is something that we can discuss. In fact, my email ID is up on the slide. You can write to me, or even I'll get in touch with you. Please give me a minimum number of trainees.
The last question in row comes from Hani. MashaAllah, Hani is on fire today. So, does Semantic and Blue Code vendors provide these services as well?
Okay, so I take this one as well. Sorry, Maria. Symantec and Blue Coat provide not exactly the same services. They provide enhanced services around threat management and some of the managed services that are linked to their solution. I am currently trying to get all the offering of services of Symantec in order to Blue Coat in order to align. Our objective is to get alignment with all vendors in terms of services, because we would like to be as much as efficient as we can be. Now, our experience is showing that the services, whenever are similar to what we provide coming from a vendor, are very expensive. And this is one of the points that we would like to highlight in this session, is that the services that we are building here, as well as the training, and when you will see the prices, it's going to be obvious, are very cost effective intentionally in order to help you, our business partners, in getting this business, unlocking this potential. So we will keep on updating you about the services delivered by the partners, by the vendors, but in majority what we are proposing is a value also to the vendors, because in most of the cases they don't have them.
Okay. One more question from Majid Majdi. Is security testing will include man-in-the-middle attacks? Will it be used, or it will be offensive security attacks? So Majid, I know you have a security background. So man-in-the-middle attacks is kind of dangerous usually, especially if you are performing this remotely. So if you don't have a powerful machine, whenever you're doing the testing, you might end up disrupting the network of the client. So we try to avoid this usually, except if there is like an explicit agreement from the client to perform this, then we perform. But usually we try to avoid, unless we have someone on the ground sitting and performing the test. In case something happens, he can just stop the attack. I hope this answers your question.
So I think I am pleased and also let's say a bit concerned, because I promised to finish before complete 1 hour, but I see that there are still a lot of questions, so I'm happy to continue. There is another question, Muawiyah, here.
Yeah. Last question from Annie as well. The question says, for any training webinar sessions, kindly consider me to attend as well. Okay, it's not a question, it's a question.
It is a very good question. In fact, it's going to allow us to close this session because in fact I wanted to close it by giving you the information that our next webinar is going to happen on the 16 or 17 of May. So you will receive the information, all of you, all those who participated, and even those who did not participate in our all 3 webinars. And the topic of this 17th of May webinar is going to be more technical, more specific to cybersecurity, and we will try to alternate 1 month's webinars around sales and market approach and go-to-market, and one on what are the hacking techniques, what are the risks, what are the vulnerabilities. So our next one is going to be on May 17th. Praveen is confirming it to me, and it's going to be similarly at 2 p.m. In the afternoon Dubai time. You will receive the invitation, and the topics are going to be GDPR, which is the compliance from Europe, a European compliance standard, and IoT and wearable, all what we call the new technology risk and security risk. Praveen is going to speak about it. So I hope by this we would have reached our target by showing you how to address the cybersecurity and how you can increase the number of opportunities in our market. And I would like to give a special thanks to all our business partners who joined this call, as well as our Ingram Micro associate. And I repeat again, we stay at your disposal. You have our contact, and I wish to say good sell and have a very nice day. Thank you very much for everybody.